Hi there, this is Priscilla Batzell in Spring Hill, Florida. That's my dog, the one that usually makes the noise. We're going to take a little walk out and cruise around my studio. I don't know how well I'll like this video. There's my two tents. I can't zoom out. It's my big yard with the fence. And we are approaching several of my useful items. One is my stool with a little table. And I take pictures in the sunlight, better when it's cloudy, honestly. When paintings are wet, that's how I get my wet photographs. And up here is my probably 100-year-old wooden easel. I don't know how well you can see that or not, but that's very useful to me. I have a lot of tables. There's the tripod, the broken tripod right in front of you that I've retired and still attempt to use in the yard. And there's a silicone tray I just found at a church store. And underneath it are the paintings. Let's see if we can get a hold of those in a nice way that I'm putting up for the contest. And then we'll walk on. So that's pretty cool. I don't have too much reflection on that. And I have numbers in my pocket. And I think, though I'm not positive, that is 3255. And here comes, this was a fun piece. That was almost a disaster. There's some really nice shimmering metallics in there. Up close, this is stunning. That's not a great place for that, though. I wonder if I can put that up on the easel. It's very cloudy right now. That's a little better, sort of, kind of. And I know that that's 2850. And we'll just take that right down. You're in my studio, so you're seeing my piles of junk. And then we're gonna jam that right up there. I want to make sure not to turn my camera sideways. And we have 20 minutes. I don't think it'll take 20 minutes. Anyway, so that's number 3 in the contest. The contest is open to everybody who contributes to the studio through PayPal or Patreon, I guess. Whoever has, which are not as many as you'd imagine by far. And I will figure it out on December 5th, and I will announce the drawing winner who can pick one of those 3 paintings on December 8th. And it starts right now. Alright, so this is the table outside. I have a big pan that's usually full of water. It's got a couple little objects in it now. There's a bucket. There's a bottle brush. There's my dollar store dustpan. My dollar store shovel and bucket. And these are an incredibly useful item for getting the paint out of things, which are scrubbies with some texture. There's a little rack. I have all kinds of little tables. There's my little stool, footstool that I usually get up on. And it's all sand out here. So when the wind blows, as you can see, it's covered with dirt. So it's lucky I can get anything done. All sandy. Let's go back to the beginning. Show you some tools before we go into the studio. There's a couple of different trays of the Princeton Catalyst Art Tool Spatulas. Right there. There's flat nose, round nose, pointed, rectangular, half a blade. I've got palette knives, got my glasses, got my back scratcher. That's really important, actually. I've got stamps I haven't used, and got all kinds of tools I haven't used, actually, kicking around. There's my broken to heck, but flat front plastic spoon that I started scooping with. Mardi Gras beads, and chain pull beads, lots of them different lengths. There's the dish I use with the heavy cotton rag in. Here is something I find interesting. Here's the, how do I show you? It's just a plastic container that I can rest my dollar store dustpan in. Now you finally see it. I have several of those. There is my torch, which you've probably seen many times, with the art resin torch head on it, which is about 50 bucks and worth every penny. There's my collection of skewers, some of which are in need of being soaked, but mostly not. I've got spoons that I used to scoop with, not so much, and clay carving tools that I haven't used for clay in a long time. There's my beautiful dish of tongue depressors, which I will make a craft project out of someday. Yeah, nice colors. There's a miscellaneous bunch of stuff around. Here are my 2 OXO omelet turning spatulas in the different sizes. I always recommend the larger of the 2 because it's got a more flexible blade and I just like it. It's much better for coverage. There's the timer I didn't set, and I always keep a little bucket for tips for my bottles. Here's a tool I haven't used yet that I'm looking forward to using. It actually, I believe it's for chocolate. It's a funnel with a release. So we'll see if I use that. And there's one of my little cream containers underneath it from a yard sale. There's my camera's adapter. Here's the bottle bottom to that square weird bottle that I made a painting with not too long ago. Here are a bunch of cookie cutters, which you can actually find in the cake section of Michael's pretty easily. The Wilton area is abundant with cool stuff that we can use for pouring. And we have a lot of these spatulas. Excuse me, scoops! They're not spatulas. Same with measuring cups, a bunch of those. I'd like some with less heavy handles so they're not as inclined to tip over. Here are the cut cardboard bottoms I've used out of a heavy cream container. Those were good to pour paint out of. Same thing for the 2 ounce, is it 2 ounces? Maybe it's 2 ounces. Whatever size ounces that is of the little red Pong cups. Those were great, especially if you poke a hole in the bottom of them. You can leave the pin in them, and then you can use them for a submersion pour and release the pin, and the paint will go underneath. These are great. I collect these in all different sizes. These are restaurant containers, and they come with lids. Try and keep them together. There's pipe cleaners. Whoops, sorry. I almost did it. Just started playing with pipe cleaners recently because they bend nicely, but I think I need 2 of them. I have made a few cut bottles, the cheapo bottles that I bought from the dollar store that exploded paint on everything. Let's see if I can put it with a different background. Are really good halfway, and then you just rest it on your painting and submerge it in a puddle and release it. So I have a bunch of molds, a couple I haven't tried. I have some stars. I don't know if I'm going to dip the stars or dump the stars, probably both. I like these new silicone ice cube trays I found at Marshall's because they have a cover on them, and I can use them to dip my chain or my beads into because they're nice and deep. Same with those ice cube trays that have the silicone bottoms. I like the silicone, it cleans up pretty good. And I have a couple of those. I did one painting with 2 of those. I haven't used this yet. That's been kicking around for a while. I like to keep everything turned over out here or covered up because the sand will blow and get in everything. There's my 4 size cube, large cube container, and a glass dish that you probably can't see very well that I intend on putting some paint in at some point in time. There's the fan I keep cool with, and a few layers of things. What have I got over here? I've got silicone cupcake holders, whatever, and bunches of things that really haven't... Boy, I wish I had better background colors. Anyway, you can see the holes in that right there. I haven't really been very good, I have to say, at pouring through sieves. I do want to play. I did get some new plastic star shapes for cookie cutter shapes out from, I don't know if it was eBay or Amazon, but whatever it was, I shopped around. There's a pile of my shovels. Some more stuff I haven't used. I think those are silicone, they're trivets. And I'm going to take you back over to my table. And there's my tripod, balanced up in the air, being held down by a dragon andiron on a rickety little table. Those are my squeeze bottle colors. I usually have like 4 containers of those. There's the Rain-X Original Formula that I only use 1 spritz of. And under my table I keep miscellaneous cups, edge catchers, paint pans, other receptacles that I might get inspired to use at some point in time, but mostly not too much. There's the bead pan that I picked up at Michael's that I use to add a lot of colors to and then scoop them out of. I have benches and things that will eventually go to some kind of sale or show or whatever. And we are going to go turn some lights on and hope we can see a few things. I did clean up a little bit before you got here. I wish I could turn my camera sideways. That's the neighbor's dresser with the 6 drawers that I found across the street in front of their house that they were getting rid of. People in Florida just put their good furniture on the curb. So I have piles of tools and shelves all the way up. I have some music out here, not that I get to listen to it very often, and I wish it wasn't running now. Hang on a second. It's probably too late. Hey Waz, can you turn the music off for me, please? Hopefully it's been low enough so it hasn't been interrupting my video. Can you do it now? Thank you. But anyway, so there's my easel, my double-masted easel, and the dogs have just arrived. I've got a fan in my studio. There we go. And there's my collection of canvases that I will paint on at some point in time. This is, I know all this is kind of dark, this is my drying rack, one of them. And I have a few things resting in there on the lids from cottage cheese containers. There's my trash can and some piles of yogurt containers that I thought I would use as legs, and rubbing alcohol, which is a really good additive to create cells. I didn't turn the lights on. I wish I hadn't told you I was going to. There we go. We got some lights. I wonder if we can get some more lights. No, I think those are on. So over here is just part of my mixing table. I've got brushes up there and piles of empty bottles resting so I can take the dregs out of all of them. And I really like these lids here. There's a can of white semi-gloss from Walmart, and the same for the black. My really big cool clock. And if I leave the door open, maybe it won't be too dark in here. That's from my dad's studio years ago, and I've got a pile of portfolios and other canvases under here. In that rolly thing that you can barely see is a 5-gallon container of white paint that I bought, and I just use the gallon sizes to mix what I need for a while. Alright, this is a cool item right here that you can't see very well at all, and I wish I had a better background for that. Anyway, where can we put that? It collapses. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. There we go. It's pretty much invisible. So it's very long when I pull it out, and so I'm recommending that you shop consignment stores and places where there's going to be leftover kitchen goods, because this actually folds down. They have them at Walmart too. Oh no, it's not folding down right now, and I'm not going to try and hurt myself doing it. So I've got a few more things to share. I'm going to put that aside right now. I've got all different size squeeze bottles. There's the Anita's metallic white I use, or is it? Yeah, it is metallic. And more of those containers. I actually store leftover paint to use as flow paint for underneath things sometimes. These are my favorite mixing containers, and the reason they're my favorites is they have no ridges in the bottom. So there's one small and one much larger, and like I said, no ridges in the bottom. A little sand right now, not sure where that came from, but I do live on a beach, not really. Everything in Florida is a beach. So I've discovered that my favorite gold that I add to, whoa, no, we don't want to do that, hang on. My favorite gold that I add to my artist loft, there's a pile of it right there, and some more paint up there, is what makes it shiny. There's my unicorn spit that I am still learning how to use. I have a nice collection of that if I ever get around to it. There's the raw sugar container I keep my Floetrol in, and some Deco Art pouring medium. And oh look, there's 5, count them, no? Count them, 4, 4 butane torches, all that died on me after using them for a long time. and they just wouldn't bleed and they wouldn't do anything. I have miscellaneous paints everywhere and a spare tank of propane. $5 at the local hardware store. Well worth not wasting any more money on butane. I have spare waiting in the wings plastic bottles for more colors. There's another batch of colors I'm slowly using up. There's some more in the drawers. And I'm getting ready to do resin again soon. I'm just craving it like crazy. There's the Blaster silicone I use, which is green label, and another one of those other containers. I have paints left over from, I would have to say, a year ago. And so long as they're sealed, I'm confident that I can then open them up. Let's see if I can find a good light. I've always wanted to see this. This is Fine Touch acrylic, which they used to sell at Hobby Lobby, and because it's glasses, because it holds 500 milliliters or 16 point, almost 17 ounces, it's a really good deal because it's only $7 for that. So if you can get those from Hobby Lobby. Here's another one, a Sargent Liquid Metal Gold. I like to add high quality, really super fine gold, although that one's kind of dark, which is probably why it's still here. I like to add it to the Artist Loft Gold to make it go a little further. Other things are expensive, like the golden iridescent fine. No, that's not focusing. Anyway, so that was my favorite other silicone, CRC silicone, other than the Blaster. They make kind of different cells. It really depends on how much you mix them up. Here is, oh come on. Here is my Spot On treadmill silicone lubricant, belt lubricant, which I don't use anymore because I don't like cleaning silicone off of things. I've got hardware that go with these screws. Now I know where they are in the house. Lots of measuring tapes. I used to add my hardware out here. Now I do it in my office. I've got miscellaneous brushes. Like I said, I've got lots of tools. We can go out. There's some more canvases. I am ready to paint. I've been working hard trying to edit things, and it's time to do some painting for me. But tomorrow is an editing day for the book. We hope to get out for Christmas. I want to make sure everybody knows my artwork is for sale. And yes, I do. I still have it in my pocket. At the bottom of every video, it will tell you that you can visit the Volume 1 and Volume 2 of my Facebook wet and dry artworks that came off of YouTube. There we go, one more time for the contest. I wonder how much of that was out of focus. Seems like I'm not in autofocus mode. That's a terrible way to look at that. We can put it down here and see if that helps. Probably not. Oh yeah, that's better. That's cool. Well, it's somewhat better anyway. It's a lot more dramatic in person, take my word for it. This is cool. Ha. I'm not giving away paintings I don't like. I'm giving away paintings I do like to some lucky winner. So, as I was saying, before I so rudely interrupted myself, I want to thank all the contributors who've kept me painting, because even though there aren't that many of you, some of you have been extremely generous, and I appreciate that more than you can imagine. We just lost 3/4 of my husband's pension, and it's going to make life really interesting. But I'm not saying it's not a good thing to tighten my belt. But anyway, so I've told you that PayPal and Patreon are places you can donate. And from November 4th until December 5th, if you contribute there, you will be entered in the contest. And I will announce the winners on Saturday, December 8th. I mentioned the book. We're about 80% right now, and this video will go out at least by November 5th. So I have Instagram and Pinterest links at the bottom of my Facebook. I'll give you a little pan of my backyard. There's the pool I get to hear people dive into when I'm out here sweating. And nothing else really major is going on here. I think I've shown you everything I can show you. I'm supposed to be taking pictures of tools. Yeah, lips aren't working. I'll show you every once in a while I will dump some paint that's kind of interesting. And so I have a really neat table, but it's hard to tell what kind of work I'd have to do to that before I get it clean. So this is me, Priscilla Batzell.